Most people don't understand that the crypto market is player versus player. You're competing up against everybody else all the time, and you want to also, on top of that, be low energy and lethargic and lazy. Well, then you just don't stand a chance. You get wrecked. Rent is fantastic. I would only recommend renting, unless you get to the point like you, where you have so much money, you just buy it.
That's why our tenants are guests, not tenants.
Good, I like that. When I say real estate is dangerous, now, firstly, you can make money with real estate. You can make money with real estate. I'm not saying it's dangerous from that perspective. I'm talking about my own personal ideology. My personal ideology is I don't want to be within control of a government. I don't want a government to control me. If I didn't think that way, then I'd be a lot less opposed to real estate. I mean, a house is always gonna be worth something. It ain't gonna go to zero. You know, it's not like a risk like a crypto or a stock that can go to zero. A house will always be worth something, and you can definitely make a lot of money in it. I'm just at the position where I just don't want to have a government to have control of me. And this recent war proved it. Look at all these billionaire Russians who fair and square bought property in London by the law, paid their price, paid the stamp duty, stuck to the rules. Then the president of their country did something they may not have even agreed with it. Who do they know? Do you agree with everything the prime minister does now?
No.
Neither do I. And then the British government came along and just took all their houses off.
Here's my stance. If you have gold, silver, anything, especially money in the bank, it can, if you go down the extreme levels enough, it can get taken.
Well, that's true.
Nothing on this earth is freehold. Everything is leasehold.
To a degree, there are certain things which can't be taken.
Like, you won't give us one example though, so it's hard to...
There are some things that can't be taken.
Okay, but I think that property is one of the hardest things for anybody to take. You can make I make a lot of money in property without owning it as well.
Yeah.
By controlling it.
Absolutely.
And also being a property entrepreneur.
I can't say you don't make money in real estate. And I'm also not saying I don't own any.
You do own property.
Of course I do. But I'm just saying that I don't feel comfortable. I don't go, bought another house. Yes, let me sleep easy. Some guys do. But I think when you truly understand.
You know what I'm doing right now, flipping land and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, a few years ago, many people said to me, oh, real estate's risky. I've made millions in real estate.
I bet you have.
It's all I know.
I bet you have.
And through controlling it, flipping it, trading it, owning it.
Completely.
And my properties a lot are in my personal name. I've got a lot in company as well now. I think I'm in a pretty safe position. Now, if it gets so bad that they take away everybody's property and the world has ended and there's this massive plague and everybody's dead, you know what? I lived a pretty good life.
No, completely. And I understand a lot of people will see me as paranoid, and that's fine. But I know you can make a whole bunch of money, but the last thing I'm currently in a situation where I don't need money. So I'm just trying to position myself in a way that I sleep the best as possible. And I don't feel happy with money in the bank either. I don't.
That's the worst.
Not because of even inflation. Like if I load up my bank balance and it's $87 million, that doesn't make me feel comfortable. It makes me feel the opposite. Because the one day you click on the app, sorry, contact customer service. You're like, you fuckers, you fucking, they'll just do that shit to you. So it's like, I don't like money in my banks. I don't like money in a house. It's hard. I know it's hard.
You're only insured up to the first £86,000. So if you've got a couple mil and then the bank goes bust, gone.
It's clown world. But I think there's a lot that can be done. Like, I'll give away one of the things I like to do, just one. So personally, I prefer the idea of digital real estate, because digital real estate is not controlled by one government jurisdiction, and it can be owned by some obscure entity. So let me give you an example. Let's say I were to buy www.money.com. That's worth money. I could put anything on there and generate money, so that's worth money. I'd pay a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
And let's say that was owned by a Singaporean trust. Boom.
Yeah.
I feel safer with that than a house.
Okay. No, that's interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because now if anyone wants to find out who owns money.com, even though I've just said it here on this podcast, they're like, look it up, some Singaporean trust. Okay, contact the Singapore authorities. Who owns this trust? We can't tell you. Court injunction. Years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
It's complicated, and I feel like I own it more than a house.
See, it's interesting, and my attitude is you've got to invest in what you know.
Yeah.
If you've made a lot of money, you should invest in what you know.
Oh, completely.
I don't invest in certain stuff if I don't understand it.
Completely.
And even if people tell me this is a great investment, this is a great coin, I'm thinking, I'm all good, thanks. Because I want to invest in what I understand. And if you understand digital assets, I mean, for me personally, I think owning a website or a link for me would feel more risky, because I can just see any minute, bang, can't open it. I'd rather own land where even if there's a war and the house gets knocked down, I've still got the land. There's a shortage of land.
I understand.
You know,
I understand. And there's so many ways to skin a cat. And that's what's so beautiful about making money, right? And I completely understand that. My block is ideological. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I know that a lot of money can be made. However, let me give a caveat to that.
Oh, here we go.
I do think that most of the ways money is made on the planet, nearly all of them are Ponzi schemes. I think stocks are a Ponzi scheme. And when I say Ponzi, I mean that if you're in early, you make a bunch of money. And if you're in late, you get wrecked. Money doesn't come from the thin air. Money doesn't come from the sky. So let's look at crypto, right? A lot of people ask me about crypto. Hey, what do you think about this coin? What do you think about this coin? Most people don't understand that the crypto market is player versus player. And it's funny because these new crypto coins launch and they start these Telegram groups, these communities. And all the people who have bought the coin are in this community and they're all like acting like they're friends. You're not friends.
Yeah.
If you bought it at $1 and you want to sell it at a profit of $10, someone has to buy it off you. So it's not, it doesn't just come from the sky. You're selling it for more than you bought it for, right? So a bunch of people get in, money comes in, price goes up and up and up and up and up and up. There's always going to be a guy who bought the top.
Yeah.
And it never goes up anymore. Yeah. And he gets screwed. There's X amount of people at the top who get wrecked so the people at the bottom can make money.
Yeah.
It's a Ponzi. Every crypto is a Ponzi, all of them. I could go get $100 million right now, go to England, walk around and make a bunch of money in real estate. Because I got liquid cash. It ain't that. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. I've got all the time in the world. It might take me 9 years. That'll go up.
Yeah.
That'll go up. That'll go up. I could do it. But there's also Bob and Sally working their ass off, 22-year mortgage, 10% interest rate. When we own our home, Sally, then we'll be okay.
Don't get me wrong. I think that property is something that can be bad. I think that buying your own home, I think that the Help to Buy scheme is a scam. Because I'm a developer.
Okay.
So I build houses.
Yeah.
And the Help to Buy scheme is not Help to Buy, it's Help to Sell.
Yeah.
Because basically the people that are getting bought into the Help to Buy, the government are loaning them the money, they have to pay it back.
Yep.
It's only applicable to a new build.
Yep.
It's only applicable if you live in it.
Yep.
So it's really to encourage the developers
to buy,
to build and flog off their stock at an expensive price.
Yep.
And then the people that are buying it, the second that they buy it, it drops in value because it's a new build.
100%.
They've got to live in it. They're in negative equity. They're finished.
Yep.
So the Help to Buy scheme, I guess, is a way of investing in property, or not even investing, but a way of buying property. I don't think you should do that. I think that before you buy your own home to live in, I do own my own home, but I only bought it last year after making millions. So I think before you buy your own home, if you're ever going to, become a millionaire first.
Oh no, completely. There's so much to say for renting because when you rent, you have flexibility.
Yeah, true.
I think that flexibility, if we're talking about the attention economy, and we're now living in a world where things are changing so rapidly, think of how different the world was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago, we had Motorola Razrs, couldn't even do a video on our phones. Now we can film Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how fast the world's changing. If you're gonna say, for 22 years, I'm gonna live at this address, you're a dummy. Because you might get an opportunity in Japan. Who knows, right? You're a dummy to do that. So I agree. I own the house I live in. No, sorry, I don't. An entity in a company, blah, blah, owns the house I live in. That was a cash. And that's only because I wanted it the way I wanted it. I want to renovate all this. I want bulletproof glass. Okay, just buy it. Yeah. That's why I did it. But in general, yeah, you should renting allows you flexibility. Yeah. And flexibility is very important in the modern world.
To get rich.
To get rich, you might need to have to go here, go there. Exactly. You might need a month over there. You might want to go do something in Ireland for 2 months. And then also another thing about renting, especially in the Western economy, I know I shouldn't say this, and it's probably gonna piss off your guys, but it's true. There's really very little downside to renting, because even if you don't pay your rent, they can't make you leave. Like, it's fucking clown world over here. Like, oh, you're renting 3 months, you don't even pay your rent, and you're still fucking sleeping fine. Yeah. So the whole thing is like, rent is fantastic. I would only recommend renting, unless you get to the point like you, where you have so much money, you just buy it.
That's why our tenants are guests, not tenants.
Good, I like that.
So they don't have the same...
Yeah. Well, I live in Romania, so we have my tenants, because I do have tenants, we have a slightly different system in Romania. You're an hour late, bro. You better pack or pay. But
you know what though, they make it really strict to try and help the tenants. But what actually happens is the landlords become really the landlords become really strict with the vetting process.
Yeah, of course.
Ask for big deposits.
Yep.
My sister's trying to rent somewhere. She's a single mom, and the letting agent said we don't rent to single moms.
Yep.
Right. So what's happening is it's actually hurting the tenants.
Of course, yeah.
So it's all the things that the government do to try and help the poor often end up hurting the poor.
What did we say earlier about trying to give money out? The government is not capable of helping the poor. And this is why it's so important as a person, you take personal responsibility and understand you're living in a world where the matrix can be cracked. You can make a bunch of money, but you need to take responsibility and do it. I will sit here and say right now on this podcast that I have hundreds of millions of dollars. And if you go to cobratate.com, my website, cobratate.com, you can sign up for a free email. I have an email list, and I'll send an email a day for free that will teach you how to make money. I can say that here, and of the 100,000 people who watch it, 5,000 might sign up. 95,000 will sit there drooling, and they'll just ignore me, not sign up, and then 2 minutes later going, bro, it's so hard out here to make money. Just dumbasses. Like, you're not even trying. You're not trying.
Right.
You're like, what we were saying earlier about player versus player is absolutely not really true. If it's player versus player and you're competing against everybody else, because you are, you're competing against everybody else all the time, and you want to also on top of that be low energy and lethargic and lazy, well then you just don't stand a chance. You're gonna get wrecked. There are people out here who are prepared to work their ass off.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to be that guy, then you're going to fucking lose. But nearly all the ways to make money, I was saying a little bit earlier, are Ponzi schemes to a degree. And that's what's kind of interesting about it. It's unfortunate that certain people in nearly any industry or any money generating avenue are always going to get wrecked. And that's just kind of how it works. And that's the way the whole system, the whole world works. I mean, even me, man, like I made a bunch of money on the Russian ruble. When I saw the way the war was going, I'm $30-40 million I made. I knew the ruble was going to go up. That's an all-time high now. But that takes perspicacity. This is also comes into network. The average person is not sitting around having conversations about the war in Ukraine and the Russian ruble and the financial impact of the war. Me and my team and my network, we're different. Like most people see the news, they watch the news. Okay, yeah, okay. Anyway, me and my team, we're watching the news. Okay, how can that make us money? How can that make me money? How can that make me money?
Right.
And it's a different attitude. I'm having endless conversations about the financial impacts of the war in Ukraine and whether we think that Russia's going to win or lose. And now the Russian ruble is at an all-time high. The Russian economy is stronger than it's ever been. After crashing at the height of the sanctions, when they took away the sovereign wealth fund of Russia, which is fucking criminal anyway, they did that. It dumped down, and now it's higher than it's ever been. On a currency to get a 3x.
Yeah.
It's nearly unheard of. People don't talk about these things. I'd say this another thing. I say to people who ask me, they go, Andrew, how do I get rich? And I say, okay, well, you're probably not gonna get rich because I bet you're lazy, but let's say you're not lazy. The number one habit that people need to adopt, and this is a habit I had for a very long time, and I've actually recently cleared it from my brain because I've reached a point where peace of mind is worth more than money. But every single time money is spent, you need to identify how your money was taken from you. And I say taken because money can't be made. Money is taken. Because the only people who can make money are the governments. If you're a government, you can make money. You can print it from thin air or a bank. But if you're a person, you're not making money. You're convincing other people to give it to you. You're taking money from others. So every single time you spend money on anything, you need to identify how it was taken from you. When you go and buy a coffee, don't just go buy the coffee and sit down. Sit and say, why did I buy this coffee? Okay, I really want coffee. Yeah, but then why did I go into this store and not that store? Is it better advertising? Does it have less of a line? Do they have seating? How did they convince me to come in here? How much did this coffee cost? £6. What's the profit margin on that? Probably £5.50, £5.80 probably by the time. The cup probably costs more than the coffee. The coffee is just water. How did they convince me to spend £6 in this place? And when you sit there and analyze and you all start to learn little lessons about business, you'll learn about the importance of the signage. You'll learn about the importance of there being no queue.
Yeah.
So that if you ever run a business, I'm telling you, I say with my business, my people all the time, faster. All the time, quicker.
Yeah.
Like I have a couple businesses that are physical. I'm like, I don't want to see a line. I don't want it to see empty because it looks bad. So when there's lines, you work fast. When we're down to 1 or 2 people, you take your time, you talk to the customer.
Right.
You keep it so there's like always one person at the thing. Like manage the line. Like people don't think about this stuff. No one's gonna sit and wait in a long ass queue. Maybe some idiots will, but people like me won't. We've got shit to do, right? My time's worth money. I'm not gonna stand and wait in a line. So you have to identify how your money is taken from you. If you start doing that with every single time you spend anything ever, you're gonna start to identify business opportunities, and you're gonna sit there and you're gonna have coffee and you're gonna go, you know what? They could have sold cake and they didn't. Could I outcompete this place? Let's imagine I had the money to start a coffee shop right next door. How would I outcompete them? Well, I'd have cake because they don't have cake. Also, most people in here are businessmen. And the guy serving some dude. No, we need a cute waitress. His ass is fired. We need a chick. Put a chick here, put some cake in. Financial Times, business people in. People don't even think about this stuff. They don't use their brain ever. They don't ever look around and realize how they're spending their money. They don't look around and look at which businesses are successful. They don't look around and pay attention to anything. They don't look at the world and all the things that are happening and how it can benefit them. None of it. They don't look at any of it. They're too busy following the circus. That's why it's clown world.